your name, the content of what you say and your image to be broadcast and stored from the Council website. If any member, officer or member of the public addressing the committee has concerns with this, please contact the Committee Services Officer immediately. For those at home viewing the webcast, I would like to inform you that if you look above the video, you will see a Resources tab. Select this and a link to the agenda will appear in the right-hand side. This will allow you to open the agenda in PDF form and follow the discussion and debate. And just an additional comment from me, if members could keep their masks on unless they're speaking, that would be really appreciated. Thank you. Apologies. We've got one here noted, that's Pat Cleary's. So Councillor Cook, you're deputising. Do we have any others? No? Okay. Okay, thank you. I just ask members to consider whether they've got any disclosable pecuniary interest and or any relevant interest in connection with any of the items on the agenda. And if so, can you declare them and state the nature of your interest, please? Okay, thank you. Agenda item 4 is public and member questions. There's been no public questions received. 4B, statements and petitions, none received. 4C, members by questions, none received. So we'll go to the first substantive item on the agenda, which is our health and safety policy, pages 1 to 26. Tony Williams, thanks. You're going to present this.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon to the committee. If I'll just take you through the report that's in front of you relating to the health and safety policy. So, by way of background, the Health and Safety at Work Act requires employers of our size to have a written health and safety policy statement, which needs to be specific to business and sets out the general policy for protecting health and safety of employees at work, the organisation and arrangements for putting policy into practice. The proposed policy is set out at Appendix A to your pack, which I believe is page 7. The policy statement is also relevant to Wirral schools, where the council is the employer, excluding academy schools. And the health and safety policy statement has been reviewed and revised to ensure it's fit for purpose and relevant to the current organisational structure and management arrangements across the organisation. And the roles and responsibilities of officers has been updated within the policy to support the management of health and safety issues. As well as the health and safety policy, and it wasn't my intention to go through that in detail with you, it's in your pack. We've taken the opportunity within the report to update you on some of the work that's taken place over the last 2 years or so in relation to developing and improving our health and safety practice across the organisation. As a large employer, as you're aware, and a deliverer of a wide range of services, the Council has a legal responsibility to ensure we operate safe services for our workforce and public, and that we should have good systems in place to identify and manage risks. As I say, over the past 18 months or so, we've undertaken a significant amount of work to raise the profile health and safety across the organisation. And in paragraph 3.7 of the report on page 3, I've set out in some of the bullet points, some of the actions we've taken there. And most notably, a new health and safety board set up, which is chaired by Paul as the Chief Executive and attended by senior officers and representatives, which has really lifted the profile within the organisation. We've got a health and safety improvement plan in place to improve in certain areas across a number of key themes, including leadership and accountability, our policy framework, governance, performance management, risk management, well-being, resourcing and learning and development. And we've incorporated best practice from the LGA and HSE in putting that together. So quite a lot of work on over the past 18 months. And of course, COVID itself, as the committee will be aware, has presented major challenges to health and safety and well-being of our workforce. And I've set out in paragraphs 3.8 onwards some of the work that we've done over the past 18 months from a health and safety, public health, HR, assets and communications perspective, working together to develop requirements for our staff to work safely and ensure that our buildings and workplaces have remained open or reopened to COVID safe. And this is obviously an ongoing process as we move through the various phases of the pandemic. We've seen a real kind of buy-in from services around risk assessments, which has really given us a platform for the future in terms of our confidence of managing health and safety issues going forward. So I won't kind of keep you any further on the, as I say, on the health and safety policy itself, but what the report is seeking, recommendations to the committee are to approve the health and safety policy statement and to note the ongoing work to identify and manage health and safety risks and improve health and safety practice across the council. Happy to take any questions, Chair.
Thanks for that, Tony. Do we have any? Phil Gilchrist.
Yep. Thank you, Chair. There are two things I wish to explore in the general statement of intent. In the page numbering for that, it's the small numbering 3, and it's about health and safety objectives. There is an item with a star about 3/4 way down the page, which talks about maintaining safe and healthy working conditions and provide adequate staff welfare facilities. Now, I'm just trying to envisage what we can do in current circumstances. Staff work at home, mostly, but in the old days, my dim and distant memories of things like the North and South Annex were strange sort of kitchen arrangements on the various floors and little sinks and strange cubby holes where people could meet. And then when the town hall was open, the bottom left-hand corridor was developed into a sort of rest and welfare facility with seating and I think some limited catering. So I'm wondering if we have a plan, if we are opening buildings at some point, and if the building has more than a certain number of employees in, what is envisaged that might be counted as staff welfare facilities. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, through you, Chair. Yeah, I also remember the kitchen facilities in the South Annex. And I think that the ambition obviously is to move to a much, I suppose, more modern estate for the council workforce over time. And a lot of those plans are in place. We have a legal opportunity to make sure that there are certain welfare facilities in place for staff at work and make sure that they are at least a minimum standard and better than that if we can. And we obviously are also looking to open up our COVID-safe buildings, in particular Cheshire Lines, which is a much more modern facility. So across the estate, obviously the obligation for us is to make sure that the welfare facilities that we do put in place are compliant with the appropriate health and safety regulations, and they will be, and also to develop those over time as we improve our building estates and facilities that we have for staff. So hopefully that answers your question, but there's some work ongoing to improve the facilities that we've got.
Yeah, well, thank you for that account. I'm going to make a pun and say it's a movable feast. Sorry about that. But I had a second query from Chair, and that relates to Appendix A and trade union representatives. It's at the top of page 19. All elected trade union safety representatives will be supported to undertake their official trade union responsibilities. And I'm wondering, perhaps we can have a note, doesn't have to be now, on just how many we support team, how many people are actually engaged in that and how they're located and distributed. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Yes, Chair, happy to take that away as an action.
Thank you. Julie McManus.
Sorry, thank you, and thanks for the report. I just wanted to ask, under roles and responsibilities, you've got key people that have got key responsibilities, such as the senior asset manager. Are those responsibilities also in the job descriptions of these people and any other key roles that have health and safety responsibilities attached to them? Thanks.
Okay. Through you, Chair. Yeah, generally what you find is the specific roles, particularly around asset management, was the example you've used, would have very clear details of what is required and also qualifications in some cases from a health and safety point of view, as you'd expect. What we're moving to, and actually forms part of the improvement plan as well, is that all job descriptions reflect that, particularly at leadership level. So that's not just around certain roles to have that it's everybody's responsibility, and we make that clear from the outset. So there's specialist and generic responsibilities that we set out in JDs.
Nobody else wishes to speak. I just want to say a big thank you, Tony. I know that health and safety is often derided in the mainstream media, but it's absolutely vital, isn't it? And in order for us to keep the borough safe and well, we first got to keep our staff safe and well. So thank you for all the work, particularly during the last 18 months. So thank you very much. I'm going to propose that we agree the recommendations contained in the report. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Nolan. Can I take that by assent? Thank you. Thanks, Tony. Are we on to exam? Okay. Agenda item 6 is exempt information. The following item contains exempt information. The recommendation is that under section 100A(4) of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the meeting during consideration of the following item of business on the grounds that it involves the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined by the relevant paragraphs of Part 1 of Schedule 12A as amended to that Act. The public interest test has been applied and favours exclusion. Can I agree that by assent? Oh, do I have a seconder first? Thank you. Can I take that as agreed? Okay, thank you.